Hey folks, thanks for your attention today. I want to review the Craig Douglas Edged Weapons Overview class. This is a long time coming video. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to say. It's also taken a long time because I've had a lot of things come up. But it needs to be said. This class was a little bit intimidating for me. I've been to other firearms classes, but never an edged weapons class, never a knife fighting class or anything of the sort. I have, at that time I had been taking boxing lessons, and I was familiar with the place where it was at because I had a beginner lesson with the Iowa City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that was at least familiar. The class was physically challenging. The first day was vertical, I would call it like a vertical grappling, where we were going hands-on with other people and learning how to manipulate others in a way that would be beneficial to us in a situation where a knife was involved. The first day I was smoked. It was like doing sprint after sprint after sprint. It was physically exhausting. Now I was going as hard as I could, and I wanted to go real hard so I could get the full extent of how tough it would be in a real fight type of deal. The first thing we did was we managed unknown contacts, which was a fantastic learning technique. I would highly recommend that class just for that alone, and I think anybody could do that. There was no hands-on in that part at all. I would recommend women do this, teenagers. I think it'd be fantastic for anybody to go through that. We transitioned into the vertical grappling, like I said. It really showed how hard it would be to employ a folding knife in a situation and how superior a fixed blade is. So after the first day, I was smoked. I was so tired, my head was so sore. I was using my head a lot in the grappling portion of it to manipulate the other people, and being bald, my head was just raw, just super sore. And then that night my muscles were I was just smoked, and I was in pretty decent shape too. So yeah, I would recommend, if you're going to that class, or if you're planning on going to the class, do some work to get yourself in really good shape, do a bunch of sprints, and the better shape you're in, I believe the more you can retain from the class, because you won't be thinking about, wow, I am so gassed, I am just out of shape for this. But yeah, the first day, I felt like I was in over my head because the grappling was so new to me. The second day, I felt more in my element because I had been taking the boxing lessons, and the second day was more about striking with the knife. So we had some evolutions where it was kind of a dangerous situation where you were in close proximity with someone else that had a knife. And so we had the helmets on, and your goal was to jab the other person in the face and not to get jabbed in the face yourself. And that, it was not very long. It was 90 seconds, which doesn't seem like a long time, but man, when you're going full on as hard as you can, it is strenuous. The evolution really showed how horrible and how exhausting a situation would be in real life, in a real situation, how exhausting it would be to go into that, and how you're gonna get cut. If it's a knife fight, you're gonna get cut for sure. The last evolution we did was a 2-on-1, where you started in a position where you were locked up with another person. They had a training knife, you had a training knife, and you tried to get them from getting their knife, you tried to get your knife, and then stop them from attacking you. And then Craig counted 6 seconds, and once that 6 seconds was up, he released another person that had boxing gloves on that would come in and hit you. So now it's a 2-on-1 situation where you have to keep the bad guy from his knife. You have to get your knife and knife both of them to get out of the situation before you get pummeled to where you wouldn't be conscious. So this was just a horrible situation, and it was so exhausting. After it was my turn, you start out as the good guy, and then you go to the bad guy, and then you go to the boxing guy. And so you do that 3 times, and they're only about 30 seconds long, 30 to 40 seconds, and they are completely exhausting, just horrible situations. It's very evident how the best possible outcome is to never get in this situation in the first place. The class was really a knowledge dump on the students. It was taught in a way that it could be grasped and retained. Craig Douglas is a fantastic teacher, answers any questions you have, just a wealth of information, and he is easy to learn from. He does a really great job teaching. The facility, Iowa City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, was a phenomenal place to do this training. It rained all weekend, and we were inside, dry, comfortable. The mats were spotless, very clean. Jason Clarke is just a great person to train with. In my opinion, I haven't really trained much with him. I did the beginning lesson, which was like 4 weeks of BJJ, which I know in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world that's nothing, but I still retain some of the stuff that I learned, and that was over a year ago. The facility was top-notch. I look forward to, in the future, taking my kids to learn BJJ with Jason. It was just a phenomenal experience, a great teaching, or great learning time from 2 excellent teachers. Jason had been through all this training before and helped us if we had questions. I cannot speak more highly of this class and the facility. Both Craig Douglas and Jason Clarke are just top-notch individuals, and I would recommend this type of training to anyone. And if you've taken any handgun classes, if you've taken any rifle class, I really think, if you have not looked into the grappling or the hands-on portion of self-defense, that you're missing out. In my opinion, this was the aspect that I had zero knowledge in, and so I needed this to be more complete in protecting myself and my family. So in summary of this, awesome class, fantastic training facility. I would highly recommend it. And if you say I can only afford 1 class every year, or even like 1 class every 2 years, I'd say one of these is the class to take, because it gives you so much bang for your dollar. And so get some training, folks. Thanks so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, go ahead and share it if you want. No big deal. This I just want to get the word out on this class and tell how good a class it is. If you take it, go ahead and comment and say what you thought about the class. Thanks so much, folks.